Good morning, children. Hearty welcome to all of you for today's session. Come, let's learn English. Today, I am going to discuss a new lesson from our supplementary reader moments. Lesson 8. The house is not a home. Children, it's an amazing story. Okay, have you started your study seriously? As you know, in the month of March, you will have the final exam. So start your study seriously, write the notes properly, and send it to me in Google Classroom as early as possible. I know many of you are not regular in sending the notes. So, children, try to complete the notes. Okay, we want to complete one more lesson from the supplementary reader. The last lesson, 10th lesson. Okay, so let's start. See, here is the picture of our writer, Zan Godiso. So, first of all, let me give you a brief description about the writer Zan. Zan is a contributing author and editor of several volumes of best-selling Chicken Soup for Saul series, most notably Chicken Soup for the Teenage Saul number 3. She is also co-author of the award-winning book The Buddha Next Door. Zan is currently working on a documentary about happiness while also writing a weekly blog on the same subject, happiness. She is exploring what constitutes happiness in a time of change. Zan's other works are Ordinary People, Extraordinary Stories, and more. Okay, so let's start the lesson. So before moving ahead with the lesson, I'll give you a brief introduction. The story highlights the thin difference between a house and a home. You know, what's the difference between a house and a home? A house is a building where people live, whereas a home is a place where a family lives together, sharing the unique bond of love and oneness. The narrator's house gets destroyed by fire, and he gets a new house. Then he realizes that his home is the one built by the love and affection of his family and loved ones. Love and affection of one's family is precious. Okay, so let's move on to our lesson. Let me read the first paragraph. My first year of high school felt awkward. After leaving junior high at the head of my class with all the seniority the upper grade levels could afford me, it felt strange starting over as a freshman. The school was twice as big as my old school, and to make matters worse, my closest friends were sent to a different high school. I felt very isolated. So, first of all, I'll give you the meanings of some words that you are not familiar with. Awkward, AWKWARD. Awkward means strange. Second one, freshman, a student in the first year of high school, college, or university. That is what is freshman. That means when you join a new school, you are a freshman there. Isolated, the last word is isolated. It's in the last line of the first paragraph. Isolated means lonely. Okay, so let me give you the explanation. As the narrator entered high school, in the first year, he felt very strange. In the junior school, he had been the head of the class and had enjoyed the privileges given to a senior. But now, it's uncomfortable to be a fresher at the high school. Then, what about the school? The new school was as twice as big as the old one. The new school was twice as big as the old one, and to make matters worse, his close friends, my closest friends, have you seen that line? My closest friends were sent to a different high school. That means his close friends had gone to the other schools. So he was lonely there. Did you get the paragraph, children? It's the difficulty faced by the narrator in his high school. So as he entered high school, then the first year he felt very strange. in the junior high school, or junior school, not junior high school, in the junior school, he had been the head of the class and had enjoyed the privileges given to him as a senior student. But now it felt uncomfortable for him. What's the reason, children? Because he was a fresher at the high school. Then what about the school building? The school was twice as big as his old school. And to make matters worse, what happened to him, children? Yes, his close friends had gone to the other schools, so he was lonely there. Next paragraph. I miss my old teachers so much that I would go back and visit them. They would encourage me to get involved in school activities so that I could meet new people. They told me that in time I would adjust and probably end up loving my new school more than I had my old one. They made me promise that when that happened, I would still come by and visit them from time to time. I understood the psychology in what they were saying, but I took some comfort in it nonetheless. So, what's going on there, children? Yes, he would go back to his old school to meet the teachers. Have you seen the first sentence? I miss my old teachers so much that I would go back and visit them. So he would go back to his old school to meet the teachers because he missed the teachers and the school a lot. Then the teachers would encourage him to meet new people in the new school and to get involved in new activities. So what did they do, children? His older teachers in his older school, they would encourage him to meet the new people in the new school and to get involved in new activities. Then they told me that in time I would adjust and probably end up loving my new school more than I had my old one. Okay, so what's the meaning of that, children? They said that after some time he would adjust to the new surroundings and would love the new school more than the previous one. So these are the words of his older teachers of his older school. What did they do, children? Yes, they encouraged him and they told him that he would adjust to the new surroundings and would love the new school more than the previous one. Then the teachers at the older school made him promise one more thing. They made me promise. What did his children? Yes, the teachers at the older school made him promise that he would visit them even when he got settled in the new school. So they made him promise that he would visit them even when he got settled in the new school. So the narrator tried to feel comfortable with these words of his older teachers. Did you get the last line, children? I understood the psychology in what they were saying, but I took some comfort in it nonetheless. So he felt comfortable with the words of his teachers, older teachers. So he decided to adjust to the new school or adjust to the new surroundings. Okay. One Sunday afternoon, not long after I had started high school, I was sitting at home at our dining room table doing homework. It was a cold and windy fall day, and we had a fire going in our fireplace. As usual, my red tabby cat was lying on top of all my papers, purring loudly, occasionally swatting at my pen for entertainment's sake. So, what's going on there, children? See, one or two words are there. Purring, second last line, purring loudly. What's the meaning of purring, children? P-U-R-R-I-N-G. Sound made by cat. Purring means sound made by cat. Then swatting. Swatting means hitting. Swatting, hitting. Hitting. Okay, so let's see the explanation. One Sunday afternoon, not long after I had started high school, I was sitting at home at our dining room table doing homework. So what he was doing there, children? Yes, one Sunday afternoon, an accident occurred. So let's see what's the accident. Okay, so the narrator, he was sitting at the dining table. The narrator was sitting at the dining table doing his homework. The day was cold and windy. Have you seen that line? It was a cold and windy fall day. Fall means it's an autumn season. Okay, so it was a cold and windy fall day, and we had a fire going in our fireplace, in order to make the room hot or make the room warm. They would use a fireplace. So we had a fire going in our fireplace. So the day was cold and windy, and the fire was up at the fireplace. There was a fire, or they had a fire going on in their fireplace. Then, as usual, my red tabby cat was lying on top of all my papers. So, as usual, the narrator's pet cat, it was lying on the top of the sheets of paper. And purring loudly. What it was doing there, children, it was making a purring sound. It was making a sound. That is the sound made by the cat. Purring means, as I told you, sound made by a cat. So it was making a sound and was hitting on his pen just for amusement, just for entertainment. So occasionally what he was doing there, children, yes, his pet cat, my red tabby cat, was lying on top of all my papers, purring loudly and occasionally swatting at my pen, occasionally hitting at my pen for entertainment sake. So just for an amusement, what he was doing, the children, just for an amusement, the narrator's pet cat, it was hitting on his pen while he was writing the homework. Okay. She was never far from me. I had rescued her when she was a kitten, and somehow she knew that I was the one responsible for giving her the good life. So, what's the meaning of that paragraph, children? The good life. Have you seen that word good life? Second paragraph, last line. The good life means the life in a protective way. So, listen. She was never far from me. I had rescued her when she was a kitten, and somehow she knew that I was the one responsible for giving her the good life. So, see the narrator. The narrator had saved her life. The narrator has saved the cat. So, it remained close to him as he protected her. Did you get the paragraph, children? She was never far from me. She was always with me. So, the cat, that red tabby cat, was always with the narrator. What's the reason, children? Because the narrator had rescued her when she was a small kitten. So somehow she knew that the narrator was the one and only responsible person for giving her a comfortable life, a protective life. Did you get that paragraph? Okay, so she was never far from the narrator. She was always with the narrator. My mother kept stoking the fire to keep the house nice and warm. Suddenly, I smelled something strange. Then I noticed it, smoke pouring in through the seams of the ceiling. The smoke began to fill the room so quickly that we could barely see. Groping our way to the front door, we all ran out into the front yard. By the time we made our way outside, the whole roof was engulfed in flames, and it was spreading quickly. I ran to the neighbors to call the fire department while I watched my mother run back into the house. Okay, children, so as I told you, an accident happened that afternoon. One Sunday afternoon, an accident occurred. So, did you get that? Okay, so let's listen. So, my mother kept stoking the fire. So, what's the meaning, children? Stoking the fire. Stoking the fire means tending the fire. Then, what's the meaning of tending the fire? She was keeping the fire to glow brightly. What's the reason? Yes, the fireplace was there. As I told you, it was a cold and windy fall day. So they had a fire going on in their fireplace. So my mother kept stoking the fire. Stoking the fire means tending the fire. She maintained the fire. For what, children? To keep the house nice and warm. Then groping. What do you mean by groping? Groping. The last word on the slide. Groping. Groping means to search blindly. To search blindly. Then one more word, children. Engulfed. Engulfed. It's in the second line, last word. Engulfed means flooded or surrounded by. Engulfed means flooded. FLOODED. Or we can say one more meaning. Surrounded by. SURROUNDED. Surrounded by. Okay, so let's see the explanation. The narrator's mother tended the fire, as I told you, in order to maintain the fire, to keep the house nice and warm. So, the narrator's mother tended the fire to keep the house warm. Suddenly, I smelled something strange and I noticed it. So, what's going on there, children? Yes, there was smoke filling the room from the ceiling. There was smoke filling the room from the ceiling. So, the narrator smelled something strange. Then he noticed smoke pouring in through the seams of the ceiling. So there was smoke filling the room from the ceiling. So the smoke began to fill the room so quickly that we could barely see. So it filled the room and they could hardly see anything. So the smoke began to fill the room so quickly that they couldn't see anything at all. Groping our way to the front door. What's the meaning, children? Groping, to search blindly. The room was filled with smoke, or the house was filled with smoke, so they couldn't see anything at all. So what they were doing, their children, groping our way to the front door. So what they were doing there, they made their way to the front door and escaped into the garden. They tried to find the way to the front door, and at last they ran out and escaped into the garden of their house. By the time we made our way outside, the whole roof was engulfed in flames. So suddenly, the roof had hot fire which spread quickly. So the narrator ran to the neighbors. I ran to the neighbors to call the fire department. So actually, what he was doing there, children, yes, the narrator, he ran to the neighbors to call the fire department while his mother ran into the house. So I ran to the neighbors to call the fire department while I watched my mother run back into the house. His mother ran inside the house. Okay. So why did she run into the house, children? Let's see. My mother then ran out of the house carrying a small metal box full of important documents. She dropped the case on the lawn, and in a crazed state she ran back into the house. I knew what she was after. My father had died when I was young, and I was certain that she was not going to let his pictures and letters go up in flames. They were the only things that she had to remember him by. Still, I screamed at her, "Mom, no!" So, what's going on there, children? Yes, the narrator's mother came out of the house. By how, children? By holding a small box full of papers, important documents. So my mother ran out of the house carrying a small metal box full of important documents. So the narrator's mother came out of the house holding a small box of papers, a box full of important documents. She threw it on the lawn. She dropped the case on the lawn. So what did she do with that, children? She threw it on the lawn, and again she ran back to her house. She was trying to save some important things. I knew what she was after. What do you mean by that line, children? I knew what she was after. The narrator, he realized for what purpose she was running again into the house. What's the reason? Yes, the narrator's father had died when he was very young. And the narrator was very certain that she was not going to let his pictures and letters go up in flames. So, actually, the narrator's father had died when he was very small. So, she had to save his pictures. The narrator's mother had to save his father's pictures and letters, which were the only memories of his that they had. They were the only things that she had to remember him by. Still, the narrator screamed, "Mom, no." You know what's the reason? Eh? The narrator screamed at her not to go inside the burning house. It was burning fully. Okay, so that is what is going on there, children. She was trying to save some important documents, and at the same time, her husband's pictures and letters too. Clear? I was about to run after her when I felt a large hand hold me back. It was a fireman. I hadn't even noticed that the street had already filled with fire trucks. I was trying to free myself from his grasp, yelling, "You don't understand, my mother is in there." He held on to me while other firefighters ran into the house. He knew that I wasn't acting very logically, and that if he were to let go, I would run. He was right. "It's all right. They will get her," he said. He wrapped a blanket around me and sat me down in our car. Soon after that, a fireman emerged from our house with my mom in tow. Okay, children, so let's see what's going on there. Yes, the narrator, he was about to run after her. Suddenly, he was stopped by a firefighter. It was a firefighter. So, when the narrator tried to run after his mother, he was stopped by the firefighter. He hadn't even noticed that the street had already filled with fire trucks. So, by that time, as we know, he himself had phoned the fire department. So, by the time, the street was full of firefighter trucks. The street was already filled. It had already filled with fire trucks. Then I was trying to free myself from his grasp. So what he was doing there, children? Yes, he was trying to free himself and try to explain that his mother had gone inside the house. He wanted to save her. He wanted to bring her back. Then the firefighter did not let him go because he knew that the very next moment he would run into the house. See, here it is. He held on to me while other firefighters ran into the house. So, one of the firefighters held him tightly. What's the reason, children? Yes, the firefighter, he was very sure that the very next moment the narrator would run into the house to save his mother. So what did he say, children? Yes, he said that the other firefighters would bring her back. It's all right, they will get her. So he said that the other firefighters would bring her back. Then he wrapped a blanket around me and sat me down in our car. Soon after that, a fireman emerged from our house with my mom in tow. So what's going on there, children? Yes, the firefighter wrapped a blanket around the narrator. See, here it is. He covered a blanket around the narrator and made him sit in their car. Then, soon after that, a fireman emerged. What do you mean by emerged? Emerged means came out. Came out of the house with Zan's mother, with the narrator's mother behind him. Okay, in tow means behind, my mom in tow. So a fireman came out of the house with the narrator's mother behind him. He quickly took her over to the truck and put an oxygen mask on her. I ran over and hugged her. All those times I ever argued with her and hated her vanished at the thought of losing her. So what did he do, children? Yes, the narrator quickly ran to her. Okay, so the firefighter, he quickly took her over to the truck and put an oxygen mask on her mouth. What's the reason, children? Because she inhaled a little smoke. Okay, so what did he do? Yes, the firefighter took her to the fire truck and put an oxygen mask on her mouth. Then the narrator, he ran to her and hugged her and embraced her. The thought of losing his mother aroused affection in his heart, and all thoughts of dislike vanished from his mind. As you know, what's it, children? Yes, you are always arguing with your mother or with your father. But when we are in a thought that if we lose us, we can't suffer that. We can't bear that, isn't it, children? So here also, the narrator, he was also very happy to see his mother. See, he ran over and hugged her. All those times I ever argued with her. So by that time, for each and every silly matters, he would argue with her and hated her. Oh, now, what's the thought in his mind, children? Yes, the thought of losing his mother, aroused affection in his heart, and all thoughts of dislike vanished from his mind. So, when he saw his mother, he ran quickly towards her and hugged her. Did you get the reason, children? Because the thought of losing his mother aroused, or it filled his heart with affection, and all the thoughts of dislike towards his mother, it's vanished from his mind within seconds. Okay, then she is going to be okay, said the fireman. She just inhaled a little smoke, and then he ran back to fight the fire, while my mother and I sat there dazed. I remember watching my house burn down and thinking that there was nothing I could do about it. So what is going on there, children? The fireman calmed the narrator. She is going to be okay, no problem. She is going to be okay. She just inhaled a little smoke. Then what did he do? The fireman ran into the house to fight the fire. By that time, the narrator and his mother, both of them sat there wondering on what had happened. Still, the narrator remembers how he saw his house burn and felt helpless about it. Both of them, they sat there dazed. What's the reason, children? Because they were helpless. They just simply watching their house burn down and thinking that there was nothing to do for that. Okay, so they became helpless. 5 hours later, the fire was finally out. Our house was almost completely burned down, but then it struck me I hadn't seen my cat. Where was my cat? Much to my horror, I realized that she was nowhere to be found. Then, all at once, it hit me with the news called The Fire, My Cat. I broke down in tears and cried and cried. I was suffering loss big time. So, what is going on there, children? Yes, what is happening there? It took them 5 hours to control the fire. 5 hours later, the fire was finally out. So, they took 5 hours to extinguish the fire. So, our house was almost completely burned down. So, it took them 5 hours to control the fire. Say they put down the fire after 5 hours. The house was totally burned down. But by that time, the narrator realized that his pet cat was missing. But then it struck me, I hadn't seen my cat. Where is my cat? So he could not find it out. He got sad and depressing thoughts like a difficulty in adjusting to the new school, the burning of the house, the losing of his pet cat. All these things broke down him in tears. I broke down in tears. It made him cry, cried and cried. So he thought that he was suffering many losses. What are the children? Many losses are there. So he lost his house, his pet cat. Then he knew that he was very difficult to adjust with the surroundings of his new school. So he broke down in tears. It made him cry. He thought that he was suffering many losses. So I was suffering loss big time. The fireman wouldn't let us go back into the house that night. It's still too dangerous, dead or alive. I couldn't imagine leaving without knowing about my cat. Regardless, I had to go. We piled into the car with just the clothes on our backs and a few of the firemen's blankets and made our way into my grandparents' house to spend the night. So, what's they are going to do, their children? They were not allowed to go into the building as it could be dangerous. The firemen couldn't let us back into the house that night. It's still too dangerous. So, what is going on there, children? The firemen, the firefighters, they didn't allow them to go into the building because it's still too dangerous. But the narrator wanted to know about his cat. See, dead or alive, he couldn't imagine leaving without knowing about his cat. But he had to go. It's the reason, children. Nothing is there. Everything has been burned out. So he had to go. What did they do? They got into the car with none of their belongings. Everything has gone, isn't it? So we piled into the car with just the clothes on our backs and few of the firemen's blankets. So all they had were the few blankets given to them by the firemen. What's the reason, children? As I told you, the climate it's very cold. So the firemen had given them a few blankets. So all they had were the few blankets given by the firemen. Then they decided to go to their grandparents' house. So they decided to go to the narrator's grandparents' house to spend the night. They spent the night at the narrator's grandparents' house. Clear? The next day, Monday, I went to school. When the fire broke out, I was still wearing the dress I had worn to church that morning, but I had no shoes. I had kicked them off when I was doing my homework. They became yet another casualty of the fire. So I had to borrow some tennis shoes from my aunt. We couldn't. Why couldn't I just stay home from school? My mother wouldn't hear of it, but I was totally embarrassed by everything. The clothes I was wearing looked weird. I had no books or homework, and my backpack was gone. I had my life in that backpack. The more I tried to fit in, the worse it got. Was I destined to be an outcast and a geek all my life? That's what it felt like. I didn't want to grow up, change, or how to handle life if it was going to be this way. I just wanted to curl up and die. Some words are there, children. So let's see the new words. Weird. Have you seen that word weird? See, here it is. The clothes I was wearing look weird. Weird means strange. W-E-I-R-D. Weird means strange. Then destined. What do you mean by destined? Yes, future developed as per a predestined plan. Destined. Then outcast. Outcast. What do you mean by outcast, children? A person rejected by society. outcast, a person rejected by society. Then one more word, geek, G-W-K. Geek means an unfashionable or socially inept person or unfashionable person. Socially, he was not at all apt. So once again, children, weird means strange. Destined means future developed as per the predestined plan. Then outcast, a person rejected by the society. Then cheek, an unfashionable or socially inept person. Okay, so it's a lengthy paragraph, don't worry. It's very simple. Let me explain to you. The next day, Monday. So the next day, Monday, I went to school. So the next day was being Monday, he wanted to go to school. The narrator went to school the next day, it was a Monday. At the time of the fire, he was wearing the dress that he wore to the church on Sundays. Did you get the sentence, children? I was still wearing the dress I had worn to church that morning, but I had no shoes. So at the time of the fire, he was wearing the dress that he had worn to church on Sundays. So he was not wearing his shoes. What did he do, children, with the shoes? Yes, I had kicked them off when I was doing my homework. So he had removed them and kicked them off when he sat to do his homework. They were also burned in the fire too. So the narrator had to borrow tennis shoes from his aunt. Actually, he did not want to go to school. See, have you seen that sentence? Why couldn't I just home from school? My mother wouldn't hear of it. So, he did not want to go to school. What's the reason, children? Because he had no dress, no shoes at all. So, his mother forced him to go. My mother wouldn't hear of it. And I was totally embarrassed by everything. So, his mother forced him to go. He wore embarrassed because his clothes were unusual. He did not have his bag, books, or homework at all. So he thought that God wanted that he should live like a person who was different from others and did not fit well in the society. He was so upset that he wished to die. Did you understand, children? Yes, the clothes I was wearing looked weird. The clothes he was wearing looked strange. He had no books, no homework, no bag. School backpack, you know. Okay, so I had my life in that backpack. What's the reason, children? Yes, it was his life. He had everything kept in his bag. So what happened to him, children? He thought that God wanted that he should live like a person who was different from others or who did not fit well in the society. So at last he became so upset that he wished to die. I just wanted to curl up and die. Okay. So, the next paragraph, the last paragraph of today's session, children, listen. I walked around school like a zombie. Everything felt surreal and I wasn't sure what was going to happen. All the security I had known from my old school, my friends, my house, my cat, had all been ripped away. So, zombie, you know, a dull and apathetic person. A dull and a apathetic person, APATHETIC, zombie. So I walked around school like a zombie. So the narrator walked around the school like a dull, lifeless person. Did you get the word, children? Zombie, like a dull, lifeless person. The narrator walked around the school like a dull, lifeless person. Everything felt surreal. He felt insecure as all his belongings, his old school, all the friends, his pet cat, his house, all had been snatched away from him. All the security I had known. What was his security, children? Yes, his old school, his old teachers, his friends, his house, and his cat all had been torn apart from him. Okay, everything had been snatched away from him. So he felt insecurity, as all his belongings, his old school, his friends, pet cat, his house, all had been snatched away from him. Children, I hope you understood the portion that I taught you today. And don't forget, notes is there. Try to write the notes completely and send it to me as early as possible. Okay, children, one more part is there. It will be completed in our next class. Okay, children, thank you so much. Have a nice day.